All right, this is Ingenuity completing a square, the quiz part. Let's get started. So first question, you have x squared plus 1x, and what needs to be added to make it a perfect square trinomial? So you have to use the positive 1 and you divide it by 2 and you square it. That's going to give you 1/4. So you want to check the first one. For the next one, what needs to be added on both sides? So you have -6, you want to divide it by 2, and you square it, you're going to get positive 9. So you want to check the third one. All right, this is similar to the previous question. So all you need to do is go ahead and use -3/4. You divide it by 2. Instead of it, I'm going to use multiply by 1/2. Okay, and you square the whole thing. So that becomes -3/8. And then you square it. That's going to be positive 9/64. So check the first one. All right, next one, you have to write this in factor form. So that's going to be x plus 1 squared equals to 17. Now you square root both sides. You have x plus 1 equals to positive negative radical 17. So subtract 1 on both sides, and you have your answer over here. So check the second one. All right, so solve for the x. So here we have the factor form in x minus 5 times x minus 5. So I'll put the square of x minus 5, which equals to 35. Okay, you're going to square root both sides. So you have x minus 5 equals to positive negative square root of 35. Okay, so go ahead and add 5 on both sides. So now x is isolated. So that would be an answer. So if you, I can erase that as well. So your answer is going to be the second one. All right, so this question, first of all, let's just subtract 17 on both sides because I know that positive 17 is not making my trinomial a perfect square trinomial. Okay, so subtract 17 on both sides. You have x squared plus 14x. I'll leave a little space from 14x to the equal sign. So now I have -96 minus 17. That's going to be -113. Okay. So now I'm going to use the positive 14 divided by 2, and I square it and figure out what value I need to add to both sides. So the left expression is going to be a perfect square trinomial. So that's going to be 49. So add 49 on both sides. Okay. So now you can write that in a factor form. So it's going to be x plus 7 times x plus 7. So I'm just going to put square root of x plus 7. It's going to equal to -64. Okay, now you can just square root both sides. So this is going to equal to x plus 7 equals to positive negative square root of -64. Square root of -64 is actually 8i. Okay, so it's going to put positive negative 8i. Last thing I want to do is go ahead and subtract 7 on both sides. And then now your x is isolated. Okay, so your answer is going to be the second one. Okay, so the question is getting a little bit more complicated. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move these two terms to the left side. Okay, so what I can do is I'm just going to subtract x squared on both sides, and I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. And I know that whatever that I'm getting here, it's going to be -2x. Okay, -7 is not going to be the constant that I need, so I'm going to have to find my new constant to make it a perfect square trinomial. Okay, so what's going to happen here is I'm just going to go ahead and subtract this. So that's going to be x squared minus 2x, which equals to, I'm going to add 7 on both sides. I'm going to move this -7. Okay, so it's going to equal to 46. Okay, now I'm going to use the -2, and I divide it by 2 and I square it. So that's going to be positive 1. So I'm going to add 1 on both sides. Okay, so now I can write that in factor form. So it's going to be x minus 1 times x minus 1. So put the square of x minus 1, which equals to 47. Okay, so square root both sides. So I have x minus 1 equals to, I don't need to make that so far. So x minus 1 equals to positive negative square root of 47. So now I'm going to just add 1 on both sides. Okay, so now x is isolated. So my answer is going to be the last one. Okay, so this is going to be a little complicated because it's just we're dealing with fractions. Okay, first of all, divided by 2 on the whole entire equation. So you're going to rewrite this as x squared minus 5 over 2x plus 1/2 equals to 3/2. So what I'm going to do here is subtract 1/2 on both sides. So this is going to become nothing. Okay, and this is going to be 1. Okay, so I'm going to use the negative 5 over 2 to find out what needs to be inserted into on both sides. Okay, negative 5 over 2 divided by 2, so I'll use 1 times 1/2 and square it. That's going to be negative 5 over 4, and you square it, now it becomes positive. So it's going to be positive 25 over 16. So what I'm going to do here is I'll put add 25 over 16 on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to erase a couple things because 1, I can rewrite that as 16 over 16. And I'm going to erase the rest of unnecessary parts. Okay, now let's work on this. So I can write the trinomial in perfect square form. So that's going to be, in factor form, is going to be x minus 5 over 4 squared equals to 40, sorry, I shouldn't have put it that far. So 41 over 16. Now I can just go ahead and square root both sides. So I have x minus 5 over 4 equals to positive negative. I'm going to write rad 41 over rad 16. Okay, square root of 16 is actually just 4. Okay, so just write 4 over there. So now all I can do for the last step is add 5 over 4 on both sides. Okay, and now I got my answer. X is now isolated. Okay, so you want to check the last one. Happy Friday. Take care.